Now, Israel Defense Forces 401st Brigade has eliminated approximately 150 terrorists and struck arms production site, launching stations and gaining control over Hamas terrorist strongholds in northern Gaza. And that is the latest update. We are getting to know about the late-night bombardment in Gaza. There are over 150 Hamas terrorists have been neutralized. That is the latest figure released by the Israeli Defense Forces. And also, Prime Minister Netanyahu, Benjamin Netanyahu of the Israel, is meeting the troops on the border, along the border in Gaza. That's what we understand up until now. So that is the latest update from the war against Hamas. 150 terrorists in total have been killed up until now. There has been, of course, airstrikes and ground operation deep inside the Gaza city, deep into the Gaza Strip by the Israeli forces. And this is the latest figure as far as the death of the terrorists is concerned. My colleague Simran, who is tracking all developments for us, is joining us on the broadcast. A significant development and update that is coming in, Simran. 150 terrorists have been killed. That is what the Israeli Defense Forces say. We're also getting to know that Benjamin Netanyahu has met the troops alongside the border.
See, this is a big success for the Israel Defense Forces as they managed to neutralize more than 150 terrorists in the past day. This operation was conducted not only inside the Gaza Strip but also in the Jabalia and other areas where the terrorists of Hamas were active. Now coming to the situation that is on the borders. Right now we are reporting from the armistice line of agreement that divides the Gaza Strip from the Israel. And I'll request Rawatji if he can show you the loud smoke, the smokes and the loud bangs that are can be visible and can be clearly heard from inside the Israel also. These are the targets of the Hamas that are being taken shot at by the Israel Defense Forces. And as you said that the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, was with the troops. Yes, he was in the Niroz kibbutz that was targeted by the terrorists of Hamas. Niroz is the same kibbutz from where more than 80 people have been abducted. So the majority of abductees are from the Niroz kibbutz, and the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was there. He was there at the time of Shabbat because on the Friday evening with the dawn of the sun, there is Shabbat that is observed for a day's time. That is on from the evening of Friday to evening of Saturday. The Shabbat is observed in the Israel, and the Prime Minister observed this with the troops on ground, and he has made it amply clear that there will be no ceasefire. The only motto of the Israel Defense Forces and the political leadership remains to be wiping out of the Hamas. And as we speak, their operations have gone deep inside the Gaza city. Even the Al-Shafa hospital is also being encircled and is being operated by the Israel Defense Forces, as that continues to be one of the major hubs of the terrorists of Hamas. Now coming to the situation on the humanitarian ground, there have been more than 750 trucks that were allowed to go inside the Gaza Strip from the Egypt, and that was sold for the people of Palestine. Israel's side time and again has made it amply clear that this war is against the terrorists of Hamas, not against the people of Palestine, and it has to be made very clear that the people need to leave the north of Gaza and they should move to the south of Gaza, because north of Gaza is now operational field. That means Israel Defense Forces are carrying out the ground operations, the operations via sea and the operations via air inside the Gaza Strip in the north of Gaza. And now these operations are likely to intensify in the coming days, since one of the most challenging thing remains to be how to carry out these operations inside the Gaza city, which remains to be the forte of the terrorists of Hamas, but also one of the most densely populated and one of the most dense areas. And that's why it is really very challenging. The special forces are being trained by the Israel side to carry out the operations inside the Gaza Strip. And apart from that, the main thing that remains to be seen, that where are the top commanders, because now what has happened that the top leadership, those who are the decision makers in the Hamas leadership, they are still at large. This shows that they have gone into hiding or somewhere else, possibly in Qatar or some other countries, so that they can be out of reach for the Israel Defense Forces. So that is something it has to be seen how things actually pan out, because when it comes to the wiping out of the entire Hamas, that also includes their top political as well as the military leadership, which is nowhere to be seen, say, till now inside the Gaza Strip. Yes.
Right, Gursimran, in fact, as we were speaking about Netanyahu, he has made it very clear that there is no chance of any kind of ceasefire. Yes, there will be pauses for humanitarian aid. As you just rightly point out, that this is a war against Hamas terrorists and not the civilians of Palestine. But, there have been a lot of calls for a ceasefire, including the latest being French President Emmanuel Macron. And, we've seen how Netanyahu has in fact hit back and said that please condemn Hamas and not the Israeli Defense Forces. And you have to understand that how there cannot be any kind of justification for what Hamas has done to the kids, to the old women. And he is very clear, he's amply clear that Israel is not going to stop anymore. So what do we expect from here on?
See, the statement that was issued by the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he has set the record straight to the French president. He has said that today it was the Israel, tomorrow it can be Paris as well. That was very clear to him that if we are the victim, tomorrow you can be the victim if you take the side of the other, that is the Hamas. So you need to condemn the terror activities that have taken place and need to stand firmly against the terror. And that is what the Israel is doing. There will be no ceasefire, but yes, the humanitarian process will be there. And the Israel side has made it amply clear that the humanitarian process doesn't mean the ceasefire. These pauses means that they will be for a couple of months, a couple of hours a day. It will be on the regular basis, and it will be not be restricted at this place. It will be like the moving population. The way population moves, they will be halting the operations. So it will be like this. But if you see in the other words, this is itself in the pressure that was being mounted on the Israel side, because there were many of the civilian killings in the of the Palestinians who are in the Gaza Strip in the retaliatory strikes that took place after the October 7 deadly terror attack. So now a middle way, you can say, that is the humanitarian pauses that the Israel side is going to give and is giving to ensure that the people, the civilian population, moves from the north to south, and there is no international pressure in carrying out the operation against the terrorists of Hamas.
Right. All right. Thank you so much, Gursimran, for joining us with those details on that story. We'll keep coming back to you for more. The war against Hamas is only raging on.